Indigenous Peoples Day is a reclaiming of what has otherwise been known as Columbus Day in the United States. The holiday that was being celebrated as Columbus Day was really a reminder of something that set in motion what was traumatic and really unfortunate for the original inhabitants of this land. And so through those conversations, many cities, individual colleges heard those concerns and responded through action and oftentimes through legislative movements to rename or sometimes to officially adopt that particular day and have it become Indigenous Peoples Day. There's a pretty lengthy history, but I believe it was somewhere around the mid-'80s, South Dakota was one of the first areas, and I think they initially adopted it as Native American Day. In 1992, which would have been the 500th anniversary of sort of the discovery of America, the Bay Area, there was a lot of activism in that area that basically was saying, we don't really want a number of the celebrations that were in place to take place because there were a number of Indigenous people in those areas who had been able to bring awareness to really what this meant from a historical perspective. So Berkeley was really, I believe, the first city that adopted officially in 1992 Indigenous Peoples Day to replace Columbus Day. Each year there were a few more, and in 2019 we saw a very large surge of both cities as well as finally states. I certainly would hope that the conversations that are happening right now at this period of time and really that space for real social change and movement, that this would be something that we would see. I think we've seen this in some spaces like changing of team names that have been under debate for years. And some would have once said that would never change. We would never see Washington change their name, and that has. So I think that there's real hope, and I think that also has to really come from more than just Indigenous people. There has to be a sense of this mattering to all people because of what it symbolizes and what it means, and that these are changes that we make as communities, and that I think for us to get to that space where this is changed at a national level, it will take a collective movement. I also think that we're starting to see a time in history where that might actually be possible. I think one of the most important things when we are trying to figure out how to be allies to any group is to listen, to seek out the opportunity to learn what we don't know. It all begins with a recognition that something that should be there isn't there.